Once upon a time, Apple stood for innovation, elegance, and empowerment. It was the company that thought different. But today, many believe Apple has lost its soul, trading vision for profit and creativity for control. From controversial pricing to exploitative practices and stagnant design, Apple might just be collapsing under the weight of its own greed. So how did the world's most admired company become the very thing it once rebelled against? Let's dig into the rise and slow unraveling of Apple's empire. The death of innovation. Remember when every Apple launch felt magical? When Steve Jobs would walk on stage, pull something out of his pocket, and the entire world gasped? Now, Apple events feel more like corporate PowerPoint presentations, recycled designs, new color names, and revolutionary features that competitors had years ago. Apple built its empire on being ahead of everyone else. The iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook Air. These weren't just products, they were cultural shifts. But today, innovation has given way to iteration. Each year, the same product returns with a slightly better chip, a slightly brighter screen, and a slightly higher price tag. The excitement has been replaced with exhaustion. And the truth is, Apple no longer leads the industry, it follows it. Companies like Samsung, Huawei, and Google are pushing boundaries with foldable screens, AI cameras, and new form factors, while Apple clings to minimal risk and maximum profit. The company that once changed the world now seems terrified of change itself. The $19 polishing cloth and the price of prestige. Apple's biggest innovation in the last few years might just be the art of overpricing. A $19 polishing cloth, a $3,500 headset, $400 wheels for a Mac Pro. Apple's pricing model has become a meme, but it's not an accident, it's strategy. The company has mastered the psychology of luxury branding, convincing customers that paying more means belonging to an elite club. And it's worked brilliantly, until now, because consumers are waking up. The Apple tax used to feel justified because of superior design and performance. But when your $1,200 iPhone scratches like a $200 Android and your MacBook can't be repaired without Apple's permission, that illusion starts to crack. Apple is no longer just selling quality, it's selling status. And that's dangerous. Luxury branding thrives on exclusivity, but technology thrives on accessibility. The moment Apple prioritizes luxury over innovation, it stops being a tech company and becomes just another fashion brand. The repair trap designed to break you and your wallet. Let's talk about right to repair, something Apple really doesn't want you to have. For years, Apple has fought tooth and nail to prevent users from fixing their own devices. They use proprietary screws, software locks, and even design parts to fail when replaced by third parties. If your iPhone screen cracks or your battery dies, Apple doesn't repair it, they replace it. And they charge hundreds of dollars for what independent repair shops could do for a fraction of the cost. This isn't just greed, it's strategy. Apple's business model thrives on planned obsolescence, products designed to wear out, forcing you to buy the next one. They even got caught slowing down older iPhones to preserve battery life. Translation: to nudge you toward upgrading. And when consumers sued, Apple quietly paid millions in settlements without admitting guilt. It's a system built to make you dependent, not empowered. The walled garden of control. Apple loves to say it values your privacy, and to be fair, compared to some tech giants, it does. But privacy isn't the same as freedom. Apple's entire ecosystem is a beautifully designed cage. From the App Store to iCloud, everything you do on an Apple device flows through Apple's control. Want to download an app? Apple takes a 30% cut. Want to use a non-Apple accessory? Good luck. Even developers are starting to revolt. Epic Games' legal battle against Apple exposed just how monopolistic the App Store really is. And despite public backlash, Apple still insists it's protecting users. But what it's really protecting is profit. This walled garden was once Apple's greatest strength. Smooth integration, no viruses, perfect performance. But now it's starting to suffocate creativity, competition, and user freedom. The same walls that made Apple safe are now trapping it. The illusion of ethics. Apple loves its clean, minimalist branding, But behind that white logo lies a much darker reality. The company frequently touts its environmental and human rights commitments, but investigative reports paint a different picture. Factories in China producing Apple devices have been accused of harsh labor conditions, long hours, low pay, and unsafe environments. In some cases, workers have even taken their own lives due to unbearable stress. Apple says it's addressing these issues, but the cycle repeats. Meanwhile, Apple markets itself as carbon neutral, yet still relies on rare earth mining and global shipping that generate massive emissions. They've even removed chargers and earphones from iPhone boxes, claiming it's to save the planet, but everyone knows it's to save costs. And when you buy them separately, more profit for Apple. It's virtue signaling wrapped in aluminum and sold at a markup. The overdependence problem. For years, Apple's greatest strength has been its ecosystem, but now it's becoming its biggest weakness. Every product Apple sells, iPhone, iPad, watch, Mac, feeds into another. But when innovation slows, the entire system starts to stagnate. And as global markets shift, Apple's heavy reliance on the iPhone, which still makes up more than half its revenue, is becoming risky. Fewer people are upgrading. The used phone market is booming. And in regions like China and India, Apple's market share is shrinking as cheaper, more flexible brands dominate. Apple's all eggs in one basket approach is starting to look like a ticking time bomb. Apple, once seen as the pinnacle of innovation, simplicity, and creativity, is now facing the consequences of its own greed. The same company that revolutionized personal technology is alienating its most loyal fans, not because of poor products, but because of its relentless obsession with profit margins and market dominance. The innovation drought. Remember when every new iPhone or MacBook felt revolutionary? Those days are long gone. Now Apple's annual launches feel repetitive, same design, slightly better camera, and a higher price tag. The real innovations, like foldable displays, extended battery breakthroughs, and advanced AI integration, are being pioneered by competitors like Samsung and Google. Apple's strategy of incremental updates, wrapped in glossy marketing, shows one clear thing. Innovation takes a back seat when greed takes the wheel. The anti-consumer ecosystem. Apple's walled garden was once praised for its seamless integration, but today it's a cage. Want to switch to Android? Good luck transferring your data easily. Want to use third-party repairs or accessories? Prepare for restrictions, warnings, or voided warranties. Apple's profit model depends on locking users into its ecosystem. AirPods only work best with iPhones. Apple Watches are useless without them, and the App Store still takes a 30% cut from developers. It's not user-friendly anymore, it's user trapping. The lawsuits and global backlash. Governments are catching on. The EU fined Apple for anti-competitive behavior and forced it to adopt USB-C. The US and Japan are investigating App Store monopoly practices. Even longtime Apple supporters are questioning the ethics of its labor practices and environmental claims. Apple promotes eco-friendly initiatives, but behind the scenes, it's pushing consumers to replace perfectly functional devices every 2 years. The workers behind the curtain. Behind every sleek iPhone lies a darker reality. The laborers in China and India assembling these devices for minimal pay under harsh conditions. Apple's supply chain scandals aren't new, but they're becoming impossible to ignore. Reports of forced labor, unsafe work environments, and exploitation contradict Apple's clean, ethical brand image. While executives earn millions in bonuses, those who build the products that make Apple a trillion-dollar empire are still struggling to survive. The greedy pricing strategy. Apple has mastered the art of charging more for less. Removing essential accessories like chargers and earphones, then selling them separately as optional add-ons, was framed as an environmental move, but it was pure profit engineering. The iPhone 15 Pro Max can cost over $1,200, and that's just the base model. The Apple tax has gone from a mark of luxury to a sign of exploitation. Consumers are finally waking up, realizing they're paying more for branding than for real innovation. The brand is losing its soul. Apple used to stand for creativity, think different, inspired a generation. Today it's pay different. Instead of empowering users, Apple focuses on controlling them. Instead of breaking barriers, it's building them higher. Even loyal fans now admit Apple has lost its spark. When the most exciting feature in a keynote is a new color option, something is seriously wrong. What lies ahead? Apple's empire isn't collapsing overnight, but cracks are spreading fast. Lawsuits, declining innovation, and consumer frustration are piling up. The once invincible brand is now facing an identity crisis. Can Apple rediscover its vision beyond profits? Or will it continue down a path where greed becomes its undoing? Because make no mistake, the fall of Apple won't come from competition. It'll come from itself. Apple changed the world once, but can it save itself from its own greed? What do you think? Is Apple still the symbol of innovation, or just another corporate machine chasing money? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the truth behind the world's biggest brands.